I'm glad to have the conversation, and I feel like it's a conversation that needs to be had, man. Let's touch one more thing here on Funny Car, as far as before we wrap up this Las Vegas conversation. How about Ron Capps getting that win, right? First win, I guess, I thought he won earlier in the season. All this stuff, It's so crazy how much stuff's going on. But Ron Capps' first ever win as a team owner and driver, right? Yep. That seems like a big deal to me, man. I think we were all wondering at the beginning of the season how many of these guys that were transitioning into the team owner role would be able to juggle all these different things and new pressures and nuances and new situations, things that they maybe didn't have to deal with in the past. Would it affect their driving style? Would they be more cautious than they historically have been? Ron seems to be rocking and rolling.
I feel like he was the only team that didn't have any carryover from last season as well. So that's pretty big and pretty awesome.
I think it meant turnover, but I think it's because I think it's the same team basically that he had last year under new ownership. Correct?
I don't know.
He didn't have any carryover.
Yeah.
Oh, so he's got like a whole new team?
I think so.
Holy crap!
That's what Josh told us.
No joke. Well, listen. I wanted to think that everybody would handle it exceptionally well, but being a business owner myself, and you guys know the grind that these things can be and how you have to weigh all these different things, and you're dealing with all these personalities now, and it's when you have a singular focus and all you have to do is drive a race car. And I'm not minimizing it, but the fact that you're able to focus exclusively on that, it's such a leg up. It really is. And when you have to do that and you're expected to compete at a really high level, but you also have to now deal with all your sponsors, deal with team dynamics, ordering parts, dealing with shortages and all the issues that many of us in the world are facing right now, it definitely changes things. And you have to wonder how everybody is going to handle it. And it would appear that Ron Capps is passing the test with flying colors. I mean, and he also, have you guys noticed
the right people in the right places, right?
He seems genuinely excited too.
Yeah.
Like, because I also thought to myself, this may be something that reinvigorates a handful of these guys. Like, it was kind of the same old. You start to go through the motions, and now there's a little bit more of a challenge. I know personally, I love a good challenge. I kind of joke sometimes that I have a conquest deal. Like, I have a conquest like condition where I just love to like beat the game. Whatever the game is, I want to beat it. I want to beat level up as quick as possible. And I think that you can kind of see Ron Capps enjoying this conquest in front of him.
And that's we just clarified with Josh, is no turnover from last year. It's the same team he had from last year, but just under his ownership. And that team obviously won the championship last year. And I feel like Ron, I mean, he's been at it as long as anybody at this point besides Force, really. And he's getting better. I feel like he's hitting his stride. The last couple of years have been his best years, in my opinion. You know, it's been sort of up and down for him a little bit. He's kind of been that guy that you felt like, when is he going to break through?
He was like a perennial bridesmaid, is what I would say.
Like, he was always like he's hit another level, and he is the man to beat in that class right now.
You know, it's funny because Dion, our producer, threw a question in our group chat about, you know, do you think Brittany Force is there a potential for Brittany to become a real deal drag racing legend like her father? And I'm going to kind of take that question, but rephrase it on this one. What kind of impact is Ron Capps? Could he has the gift of gab. He's got a personality. He's good looking dude, clean cut, got big sponsorship. He's been in all these commercials, right? You go into a Napa every once in a while, you'll see like a cardboard cutout of the dude.
He might be the most visible.
He may be
NHRA drag racers. He's been through that Napa partnership, like you said, cutouts, branding, TV commercials that he's been involved in, and the way they activate that partnership has put him front and center.
I think I love a sponsor like Napa, and shout out to those guys. Maybe we can get them involved with the show, because I love when brands get involved in a sport and really take ownership, right? Like they're putting these things to work there, because we oftentimes will say this to racers all the time. Like, you can't just put a sticker on your car, but that goes both ways. A sponsor can't just put a sticker on a car or throw a logo on a fire suit and think the job is done. Like, hey, we sponsored this guy, hope something good comes from it. You can't do that. You've got to activate that sponsorship, and you've got to activate that investment. And it would appear to me that Napa, I mean, they just crush it, in my opinion. I've seen funny cars on the side of Napa delivery trucks. I've seen caps on the side of that stuff. They've included him in all their marketing. There's been all this crossover, having Ron show up at a NASCAR race when Waltrip's racing a car, whatever, and all these different opportunities that they've embraced to kind of introduce different audiences and different motorsports audiences to Ron Capps. I think it's paying dividends. And I wonder, I've often said that John Force has been like that. He's like the center. He's the pole holding up the circus tent. Right. And I know that Ron Capps is no sort of young man. Right. But if there's anybody that's kind of establishing themselves, in my opinion, as someone who can carry the water or carry the load in the inevitable moment when John Force decides to hang it up, Ron Capps is definitely one of those guys. I mean, I don't know how much racing Ron wants to do, how long he wants to do this, but being that he bought the team, I would have to believe he's seeing several years. I mean, he's invested.
Right, yeah,
I think he's next man up. Last year, I think Matt Hagan, obviously, there's several guys in the funny car ranks.
I mean, Hagan won Gainesville.
Yeah. I mean, there's several guys that have juice, in my opinion, that can bring some spark to it. But I just think Capps, man, he ticks a lot of boxes, bro.
What's crazy is that we talked about these new team owners and seeing how long it would take for them to get going. And we know these are well-funded, well-staffed, well-equipped teams as far as Tony Stewart and Ron Capps' team. But it's cool to see two new teams technically get wins in the first 4 races of the season.
It's pretty exciting, man.